Good afternoon, everybody. It's brilliant to be back in Seoul. My own experience is as a developer and developing in mainly regeneration projects in the UK, some in the US, Germany, and also a number of major infrastructure projects, including being involved in the Incheon Bridge project here, so which again is why I've got many happy memories of being in Seoul. I think first of all, I'm not going to make any apologies for the fact that we are going to probably constantly cover the same ground or talk about the same subjects that we heard this morning, but that's because in smart cities the problems, the issues that we face are the same wherever you go in the world, and I think that again was mentioned this morning. I was fortunate, I think, in my experience as I developed my career, to see the rebirth in the UK of the major regional cities, which went from their old industrial decline into strong, thriving centres that they are today, and again they embrace fully or are embracing smart city technology. One of the things that we want to cover in this session is how do you pay for the development of that infrastructure. Obviously some of that comes from government, it comes from cities, but also other ways that we can track the value that smart city technology creates and actually use it to pay and develop further. We'd also like, and we're going to explore different scenarios, so we're going to explore scenarios of how you develop in existing centres, but also what you do when you've got a completely blank sheet of paper. And so Keith Marsden, when he talks about the Neon Centre, will actually go and describe effectively what he's going to do. And I think the thing that we must always remember is that cities are for people, and we are helping people to live in cities, to work in cities, and to play in cities. And the technology must actually serve the people rather than the people serving technology. But I'd like to start off with my colleague Ian Thomas, who's going to talk about the UK experience.
Partner and Head of Strategy of Meridiam Infrastructure. Julia has also been appointed a Commissioner of the UK Infrastructure Commission, created by the UK Government, and is an ideal person to address the issues today. However, unfortunately Julia is not able to be here as her mother is seriously ill and is not expected to last, so we send the best regards and commiserations to her. I sit on the Supervisory Board of Meridiam and have done for a number of years. Meridiam is now one of the largest infrastructure funds in the world. It builds and delivers sustainable infrastructure with our investors and partners, and it improves the quality of people's lives in an inclusive and resilient society. We have approximately 6.2 billion euros of assets under management, managing 60 projects throughout the world, valued at over 50 billion euros. It's actually a very big fund, and it's making a huge difference to people's lives throughout the world. I was also personally involved when at AMEC in developing the largest, most successful PP project in Korea, the Incheon Bridge project with Kim Soo-hong, which was delivered using state-of-the-art project management systems developed by our company AMEC. Hence, I'm now addressing the world experts on smart cities and wondering what I did wrong. We have heard from others about the problems of the growth of urbanisation throughout the world, and UK is no exception. Support for smart cities is extensive in the UK. A US-based consultancy has designated 38 smart city projects in the UK. Projects that define the use of internet-connected technologies in an urban and city planning context. So we have come on to the presentation. Cities, and we've heard it from a lot of people today, are the heart of the economy, and it's no different in the UK. with 54% of the UK population living in the cities. 71% of the knowledge economy jobs now and in the future are based in the cities, and 74% of the UK service exports coming from the cities. In UK, cities are a hub for wider city regions, delivering employment and a range of specialist services. And I should have pressed the button. Which button? There you go. Cities in Britain have roots in Roman times. There are expectations of significant growth and development, but barriers to progress. People's ability to choose to work and live in cities is constrained by infrastructure capacity. Living accommodation prices and house prices have risen somewhat, 50%, pricing workers out of living in the city. Congestion makes road journeys slower, traffic delays on urban roads are more than 3 times higher on our rural roads, and our rail network is overcrowded. You can see here from this graph what happens in the cities and what happens in the non-cities. Cities are growing, and more people need to be able to work in the UK cities. London's population grew by 15%, and other city regions such as Manchester, Sheffield, Leeds and Birmingham grew by 6%. Expectations are that London will grow by more than 10% each decade to 2039, and other major cities by around 6%. How can the smart city concept be applied to the UK? It's no different to anywhere else. Better and more integrated transport network, reallocation of road space for fast bus and trams, engagement with road pricing and land value capture for funding. Funding patterns need to be longer term to allow plans to evolve. City plans need integrated housing and transport plans, and green spaces and green energy to support sustainable development are crucial. In short, urban infrastructure needs to be made easier for people and business to choose to locate in cities, and people to live in and around cities to access the good jobs they can create. Smart cities have a history. Bristol has overtaken London as the UK's leading smart city. There's a picture of Bristol in Roman times, and Bristol as it is today. Manchester is offering a blueprint for smart cities thanks to the new CityBird technology, helping to identify how to improve connections across neighbourhoods. Manchester has developed a smart city programme to make the city work through better technologies, transport, health, environment and energy efficiency, and aims to encourage further investment using big data to manage the city in real time. Transport critical. Next generation projects are evolving. Manchester Metro Line, Midland Metro and Crossrail. Travelling into the city centre in Manchester, you can see that car passengers are dropping, rail is increasing, and a little green line, which I don't think you see here in Korea, is cyclists are increasing tremendously. I don't know how cyclists would actually survive in the traffic in Seoul, but it happens in Manchester and it's happening in London. New technologies are being viewed with crucial importance. As you can see here, we're trialling autonomous vehicles in Greenwich. Nest are controlling temperatures of our homes and offices, and drones are being used to survey live construction sites. A high level of interest in developing the smart tools to revitalise and regenerate the cities of the future. Older cities are heavily constrained, and it's more expensive to build new infrastructure. The car remains a predominant form of transport, with 70% of workers using a car to work in the UK cities. And Manchester and Birmingham have a much higher proportion of journeying cars than comparable cities across Europe. Congestion remains a major headache, and does appear that effective long-term policy to manage congestion will use pricing for roads. We already have that in London. The congestion charge has been successful in reducing the volume of targeted traffic entering London. Better use of road space. Individual cars are not the best users of limited space, and that would be true even if more cars are connected autonomously, even with much higher car sharing. Other forms of transport, such as buses, also struggle in congested city surroundings, with urban bus speeds steadily reducing over time. Tram and light rail have also been a success where implemented, but high upfront costs and planning issues have constrained their use. The next slide is everybody's dream of a smart city. It's going from smart buildings to battery storage to integrated infrastructure to smart houses to solar to wind to battery storage. And if somebody could get that going, then probably only Keith and Sam could do that with all the money and all the stakes he's got. Size he's got. Oh, where's he gone? He's down there. Yeah. So the government, as all governments did, set up a commission, and they called it the National Infrastructure Commission. It was established by the HM Treasury in January 2017 and aims to be the UK's most credible, forward-thinking and influential voice on infrastructure policy and strategy. All I can tell you is it's got no powers and no money, but never mind, it might work. As part of the Commission's consultation, they had an assessment of congestion, capacity, carbon, priorities for national infrastructure. They've taken lots of soundings, and the plan is to be launched at the end of this month. Unfortunately, it's embargoed, we're not allowed to talk about it. We've had a roads for the future competition, how we can change the UK's roads to maximise the benefit of connected vehicles. The 5 finalists were announced, including smart traffic light systems, flexible use of curbsides, driverless zones, and sat-nav using artificial intelligence in their bids to design roads for driverless cars. Strategies for the future. I think John referred to the fact that we have to pay for this, and there's various ways that we can actually pay for it. In the UK, tax collection and public spending is highly centralised, with city leaders heavily dependent on central government funding. This has made it hard for them to plan long term. The Infrastructure Commission is looking at whether more funding can be devolved, giving city leaders more freedom to innovate and plan for the future. Cities are looking at different forms of funding in order to create a smart city. In this context, it's important to differentiate between funding where cities find the money to pay or repay loans and financing, of which there's a great deal around, which is lent to the city directly. We've seen land value capture both in Singapore and Hong Kong. Property values can rise significantly around new and enhanced transport hubs. Capturing this through tax can provide a source of revenue. Road pricing as well in London is also in Durham, road users charge zones, and Nottingham. Workplace levy, particularly funding the new tram, to make use of road pricing. Related rates, such as the business rate supplement, apply specifically to beneficiaries of the Crossroad Community Infrastructure Levy, essentially an infrastructure contribution by property developers, has ensured that 60% of London's Crossrail scheme has been funded by direct taxes on developers whose property is increased because of the construction of Crossrail. That's it for me. I'll take some questions later.